Yeah. Shot but chop.
We talk that talk.
Hit play, let the real ones walk.
New heat on the block. What's hot? What's not? If it bang, we shot. If it flop, we shot.
Hey, shot but chop.
We call that shot.
One spin, then it's off the lot.
Big vibes on the clock. What's hot? What's not? If it bang, we shot. If it flop, we shot. Mic on.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome and welcome back to the show. This is Shop or Chop, the show where I react to the latest and the greatest when it comes to all things music. I'm your host, Oakland Jonas Galloway, and without any further ado, let's get into what's been keeping my ear to the streets. Jumping off our show today, I want to talk about Natalie Gunn and how I just found out that she booked a performance at Rolling Loud in conjunction with her launching the Baddie record label. Also, we're going to be talking about a new single that she's released recently, but we're not going to talk about that until a little bit later. So, I want to start off by saying I'm proud of Natalie for taking this big step and actually taking the music side of the Baddie brand seriously, right? But what I will say is that if you're going to actually sign the baddies, please don't Drake them, right? And what I mean by that is that if you're going to sign them, don't just sign them to use them on your songs, hype you up, be doo-wop pop chicks to your records and features on your songs, and don't actually promote them as their own individual artists. Don't use them to prop you up for whatever it is you want to do in your musical journey and not actually promote them in their individual brands. Because I think if you actually let these girls thrive, you will in the end make more money, right? Of course, it'll be on the back end when if you have these girls on your records and you have the girls using their clout from the show that they're on and the season that they're on at the time to push whatever song that you're trying to release, you'll make more money on the front end because it's you and then it's the girls that are popping at the time. But I feel like if you actually give these girls a chance to craft real music, give them an opportunity to really build a musical brand for themselves, you could create an infrastructure for these baddies that could create an entirely different lane for you once this baddie show stops working, right? If you're smart, and I believe you are, because based on the moves that you've been making, while they have not been the most logically or widely productively executed, I feel like the concepts are always smart, right? You see where Baddies is going as a TV show. You see that it can last. You see that it's going to last a few seasons, but it's going to fizzle out. That's why you're making sure that Baddies Gone Wild is popping. That's why you're making sure the Bad Boys is popping. But I think that's why you're also creating all of these other individual brands within the Baddies umbrella, like the plushies, like the drink, like the marijuana, like the game, like all of the other things that you're doing within the Baddie ecosystem, including this music and this record label, right? I think that you have an opportunity to create a second wave for the brand once the TV show stops working. But while this TV show is working, you have an opportunity for all of these girls that want to do music. You have a in-house roster of girls to pull from to make this label pop, right? But you have to do it right. Don't do what Drake does and pull these people, pull their sounds, pull their swag, pull their lyrics, and then never do anything with them. Because that's not what we want to see. In your own words, that's not what the fans want to see.
That's not what the fans want to see. That's literally what the fans don't want to see. Do you understand? That's not what they want to see. And that's not what the fans want to see. That's what the fans, I promise you, don't want to see.
Just saying. Getting into our shops for the week, I want to talk about Ray first, right? And I want to talk about her new release of Click Clack Symphony. Okay, this song and this video, this is what just made me a fan of this woman, right? While I don't have anything specifically wrong with Where the Hell Is My Husband, and I appreciate the virality and the success that she and the song has had, it wasn't necessarily the song that brought me into her hemisphere when it comes to her work, right? I wasn't able to escape the song. The presence of it was inevitable, but it wasn't the song that made me a fan. I just discovered this visual recently, and this is the record that I needed to make me a Ray fan. I am glad that I let her cook with the last mega pop hit that, you know, crossed over, took her to the masses and brought her into the public appeal, right? I'm glad that I let that cook and I let that simmer and I stuck around to see what she was going to do next, because first, let me start with the video. The video for this song was so incredibly done and it was so masterfully orchestrated visually. I was completely transcended by this piece. I think that the way that the way that it was so visually rich, and it was so illustrative of exactly what the lyrics were wanting to convey, not just what they were saying. And I think that that is more powerful, because there's a difference between being blatant and just painting what the lyrics are saying, and then there's a difference between painting the emotion behind it and emoting and really evoking what the lyrics are trying to say versus what is written on the page, right? The song itself, for me, displayed her vocal talents in a way that focuses on her talent, and it shapes the production around pushing her to the forefront versus using her uniqueness to craft a hit, right? I feel like with Where's My Husband, we got to see Ray, but it was Ray doing a huge hit. It was Ray doing a pop hit. It was Ray doing a radio smash, right? I think with this song, it was Ray giving us Ray, and it happens to be a smash. And I can truly appreciate every piece of this record. I am instantly adding it to the playlist. Next up on my shops this week, I want to talk about Charlie Puth and Coco Jones and their song Sideways. I've seen the music video, I've heard the song, and I want to talk about both really quick. First of all, this record itself was so beautifully arranged when it comes to both of their vocals. I think that they have such a synergy when it comes to the tone of their voices that they are so enjoyable to listen to when it comes to this record, especially when it comes to the craft of the lyrics and the emotion that's put behind it. I think that they both give a very moody and evocative tone to whatever it is that they're singing. So having them come together and sing a song that is powerful and meaningful and emotion driven was something that was spot on when it comes to putting them together, right? I think that there was something that was done in the way that they put together this music video that, and hopefully they put out a behind the scenes, or there already is one, so that I can see if there was a thought process that's similar to the way that I think about this video. There's something very simple yet intentionally engaging, right? I think that with the way that Coco is positioned, the way that the fan is blowing just so simply in her hair, I think there's subtle movements, the way that the camera is moving in almost slow motion. I think that it's meant to emphasize the power in simplicity. And I think that that was something that was very striking, and it was something that felt very intentional, but something that could easily go over people's heads, and I genuinely appreciated it. With all of that being said, this song is so beautiful with the both of them on it, but Charlie, I need a remix of this song from the singer Lloyd. I need a remix of this song from the singer Jeremiah. And I would love a remix of this from the singer Chloe Bailey. I think that all three of them would provide some incredibly astonishing vocals on this record. I think that they have an emotional cadence that would translate some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful remixes. Please get the three of them on a remix, individually, together, whatever the case, however it has to happen. I think all three of them would be an amazing addition to this record. Third up on my shops this week, I want to talk about a singer that I just recently discovered called Rochelle Jordan. And I want to talk about her record, Doing It Too. And she has introduced me to some of the most powerful nostalgia that I've seen in a minute, but it also reminds me of something that I spoke about on a recent episode of Shop or Chop that I want to follow up on. Let's get into it for a second. So when it comes to this record from Rochelle, it feels like the purest version of modern house music that I can recall in God knows how long. This feels straight out of 1990. This feels like it came out before I was born. Mind you, I'm born in 1991. This song feels like it was released in 1989, 1990. It is so good. This feels like my mother's house on a Saturday morning before Cedar's World comes on. This feels like my first CD book with all of the CDs that I got to collect with my own preteen money, right? So it feels like this CD would be in a booklet with Grace Jones and Sylvester and Lenny Kravitz and Robin S. and Cece Peniston and Janet Jackson and BBD. Like, this song feels like it would mix right in with all of those records. It is so incredible and so well done. And the music video is also just a sight. It is pure, 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 pure nostalgia. I absolutely love it. Now, when I was listening to this record, it also made me want to go back and follow up on the review that I did on Isolde and her song recently on a recent episode of Shop or Chop. I believe it was my last episode, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember getting a couple comments on a reel that I posted on the record and talking about how I hadn't necessarily heard a lot of cross-gendering when it came to men in house music and women in New Jack Swing. And I wanted to share with you a couple comments that I got in regards to that, as far as an update and somebody actually contributing some information to the topic. So let's get into it. So the comments specifically that I'm talking about come from Chelsara Beverina on TikTok. And they read, Adina Howard and even early Aaliyah had aspects of New Jack Swing. There were others, it was the sound of the time, and many groups borrowed from those elements, even if they weren't, big names like Teddy Riley or R. Kelly. The official New Jack Swing. Moke and Steph was a girl group that had elements of New Jack Swing too. Definitely remember Moke and Steph. Definitely remember Aaliyah. Definitely love Adina Howard. We're going to talk about her a little bit later, actually. And then there was a second comment posted by Chelsara that read, also, there were deaf house acts that had male vocalists. Real McCoy, LaBouche, The Box, CNC Music Factory, all are artists that I love, actually. Men often rapped, but women rap too. Some of the classic house tunes of the 90s were songs with men rapping. So yes, I agree with all of Chosara's comments. I think that um in summary of the comments, we got elements of New Jack Swing in women's records. We got men featured on house records when it comes to vocals and raps. But I think that what I was looking for more specifically was examples of people who were more fully immersed in the genres in prominent positions of success. So like where was the male Robin S in house music, right? Where was the um I guess female BBD, right? And I guess Janet Jackson would have to qualify because she's the most famous person who utilized um, New Jack Swing and kind of rose off of those elements. But yeah, I do love all of the examples that were given by Chosara, and it's gonna make me go back and dive into the records that were suggested. Let me know if you know any of the artists that were mentioned: CNC Music Factory, The Box, LaBouche. I love LaBouche. All of those artists. Adina Howard, who's about to come up on the show, especially Aaliyah, who's just iconic. I think anybody born after um 1995 is gonna know who Aaliyah is in some capacity. I think that millennials won't let her die, just like we won't let Selena die. So I think she's always gonna be present. But yeah. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know if you guys have gotten into any of the shops that I've talked about today, especially Rochelle Jordan, because she's a new discovery for me. So I want to know what you guys think about her, and if you have any suggestions on other music that I should be listening to from her. Drop down in the comments. Okay, so getting into the chops for the week, I'm going to be talking about artists who I've previously mentioned in this episode, but I'm going to talk about new singles that they've both released that didn't necessarily resonate with me. So I'm going to start off talking about Adina Howard, and she just released a new single called Keep Lookin', and I have thoughts about Adina Howard's music that I never thought I would have. Let's get into it. So first off, I want to say Miss Howard, Miss Adina, Little Miss Howard, you're known for singing, okay? Sing. This talk singing thing that you're doing on this record is at least 5 years too late. And I don't want to hear it coming from any artist that was doing it when it was popping. I don't want to hear any artists who are just popping on the music scene after that sound has popped. So I doggone sure don't want to hear you as a legend and an icon in this music industry utilizing a sound that, in my opinion, is really supposed to be a selling point for people who are dancers first with vocal limitations, right? You are not an artist with vocal limitations. You are an artist that can clearly sing. We have seen you out on the circuit, still performing, still putting out records, still singing your old songs, and still being booked to come out and do your thing. And I watch you on YouTube still doing shows and still singing. So what is something going on that I don't know about? Before I come off as harsh, let me inquire. Is there something going on with your vocal cords that we don't know about, that is restricting you from actually being able to sing, that has happened recently when you went in and recorded this music and you just still decided to do the music but decided to do something different? Because I don't want to sit here and judge someone who can't do the music, right? Who can't sing in the way that we're used to hearing them sing. But is something going on? Saying all of that to say, I appreciate the Rockwell nod to Somebody's Watching Me that you utilized for the song, but not enough was done with it. So it's not enough for me to give you any praise about it. It's not enough for me to further ridicule the song about, but I just feel like, okay, it was there, I acknowledge it, but you could have done more with it. In general, I feel like you are too talented to be putting out this type of record. I genuinely feel like you are just too talented of an artist to be doing this type of record. This whole thing just felt very R&B divas to me. It felt like, and when I say R&B divas, I specifically more so mean what people think a song from an R&B diva would come from. They would think that it would feel dated. They would think that it would feel like you're trying to chase a trend, right? And that's exactly what it sounds like, and that's exactly what this video looks like. And if I may, in my humble opinion, I would like to say that I feel like at this point in your career specifically, Miss Howard, you are beyond displaying the intensity of your sexuality in a way that is so blatant, right? I feel like while we grew up knowing you for being the girl that was bent over the car, while we grew up knowing you for the girl that had the Freaknik anthem and for being the freak like me girl, t-shirt and your panties on, all that, and while we love all of that, I don't think there's anything wrong about singing about your sexuality and singing about sex in the way that you have been for all of these years. That's not necessarily where my issue comes in. I just think that the way that you're doing it is a way that is not necessarily innovative to the blueprint that I feel like you set up for the R&B girls, right? I feel like a lot of R&B girls specifically came after you and were doing your blueprint. In my eyes, Adina Howard is the Little Kim of R&B music. Can we have that conversation? I really feel like if you really want to talk about it, Adina Howard is the Little Kim of R&B music. Adina Howard is to what female solo singers, what Little Kim is to female rappers. Like, she really kind of personified the level of sexual intensity and the level of sexual freedom that women in R&B felt the comfortability to express in modern times when it comes to the millennial and Gen Z era, right? I just feel like whether she gets credited or not, Adina Howard has a strong presence when it comes to the blueprint of modern female R&B singers. Like, who else? You know what I mean? But I say all of that to say, in reference to my point about you displaying your sexuality so blatantly when it comes to your visuals, I think that you specifically have the opportunity to be the person that reinvents sensuality and the way that it's displayed, right? I feel like you have an opportunity and a chance to create a new wave instead of chasing what the young girls are chasing you doing, right? I'm not telling you to pull back or reserve yourself or not be overtly sexual or whatever the case may be. I'm not telling you to tone down in any way. I just feel like you have innovated the way that R&B is presented through a female lens. And I feel like it's time for you to do that again, whatever that may look like. If that makes sense. Last up on my chops for the episode, I want to talk about Natalie Gunn and her single Big One featuring Diamond the Body and Kold Killa, right? And the only reason that this song is a chop for me is because everybody came and washed you up on your own record, Natalie. Everybody came and washed you up on your own record. And I got critiques on everybody verse, but everybody washed you on your song. How that happen? Listen, DTB came up in here with her ABC 1 2 3 ass rhymes and she cleaned you up. And it's wild to me that DTB has the best verse on the song when she comes, for me, from having the worst verse on a song like Boundaries, right? And not to say that her verse on Boundaries was bad. I just felt like her rhymes are always to me very elementary. Like I said, it's very ABC 1 2 3, right? But on this verse, I feel like somebody put a battery in Diamond's back and she kind of pushed her pen a little bit. It was still very reminiscent of her very simple type of cadence and the way that she's writing raps. But I feel like if she keeps pushing and she keeps, working on it, she can kind of make something shake, because I heard her try to switch her flow up a little bit. I heard her try to switch it up a little bit and try to take a different approach to the way that she delivers her bars. And she came and washed you up, Natalie, and she washed up Kold K. No shade. Diamond, you did your thing. You did your thing. Best verse on the song. You were the best of the mess tonight. Now, Kold K, when it comes to you, I feel like you should have wrote another 8 bars, right? When I was listening to the song, it feels like your verse was just really getting started right when it ended. It was wild to me. Like, I felt like I was just getting into your part of the song, and then the hook came back in. And I was like, well, damn. But that left me with a thought. When it comes to your verse, new rappers, stop incorporating the lyrics from the hook into your verse. It's lazy. It is lazy and it is annoying. If you are going to be a rapper, push your pen. I don't need you to be lyrical, miracle, lyrical, spherical, biblical, herical. Like, I don't need you to be the most metaphorically punchline driven, flip a word 5 times type of rapper. But at least push your pen to the point of you not repeating the same word for your entire verse, or you or you recycling other people's bars in your verse to finish out your verse because you couldn't think of anything else to say. Push your pen. Push your pen, please. Speaking of, another critique that I have, Natalie, this is also for you and all rappers in general, but in this case it's you because this is your song. These repetitive ass hooks gotta go. These repetitive ass hooks where you just saying the same thing over and over again and you just repeating the same words over and over again just to get through a certain amount of bars to get to the next verse. Girl, gotta go. Gotta go. Go find more words. Go find more words. It's not hard. Pull out a pen, pull out a piece of paper, and pull the line that you want to rap, write it down. And then the last word of that bar that you need to rhyme, write down 8 words that rhyme with it. And then figure out a way to make a dope ass verse with at least 4 of those words. It's not hard. Like, I'm telling you this as somebody who used to rap, and somebody would probably consider me a lyrical, miracle rapper. But it's not hard when you really want to rap, when you really want to make good music. Like, cause Natalie, you know how to do this. if you are actually writing your raps like you say you are, you know how to do this. Like, I just don't like, cause it. Listen, I'm used to coming on Shop or Chop and talking about how Natalie keeps coming through and proving me shocked boots because she's making such good music. Like, I just said a couple episodes ago how you had the craziest feature run a year and a half ago with all the DJs and all the people who were doing all of these remixes. Like, don't become the girl that wastes your best verses on your features on other people's music, and then your solo music, your real music becomes boring, right? You had an amazing feature run, right? And then just recently, you had one of the best verses, if not the best verse on Yaya, right? I've got to go back and listen to Lola Brooks' verse, but you had one of the best verses on Yaya, if not the best verse. Don't let your music slip. Don't let your music slip, because you've been proving the girls wrong all this time by coming through and actually having dope ass verses and having good ass music. Like, it's not just because of the show. The music is actually good. Because if that was the case, we would be making fun of your music the way the people make fun of Jocelyn's music. Right? Like, you're not out here putting Dun Cha Cha in this beach. Like, you're not putting out that. You're not putting out, do it like it's my birthday. Maybe, baby, do it like it's my... Like, you're not putting out her type of music. Like, you actually putting out records. Don't let your music slip, Natalie. Because you done messed around and made me a fan of your music. Don't mess around and then lose me right when you hook me in. Girl, get back to it. Push the pen. Call the writers. Whatever you need to do. Call the writers, push the pen, figure it out. Because this was not good for you. This was not your best. And you talking about dropping another EP. You just dropped a record. You just dropped girl, don't oversaturate these people with this music that the verses start slipping because you run out of shit to talk about, because you done put out so much music in a year that you ain't got nothing else to say besides how much money you done made. Okay, call some real rappers and get some advice. All right, everybody, that has been our episode of Shop or Chop. Let me know what you guys think of everything I covered on the show today. Let me know your thoughts on my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are on the music. And let me know if you have any suggestions on what you think I should be covering in our next episode. If you have any suggestions, drop down in the comments and make your voices heard. If you like the video, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss this show every Monday. You don't miss the Fourth Wall every Wednesday. And all of the new content that I'm about to announce coming to the channel. Once again, I'm your host, Oakland Jonas Galloway, and I appreciate you all for being here. Until next time, peace.
If it shine like a drop, then we running it up. If it don't, then it's done. We ain't saving no cut.
Shop or chop.
We talk that talk. Talk that talk.
Hit play, let the real ones walk.
Let it
Do
roll.
heat on the block. What's hot, what's not? If it bang, we shop. If it flop, we chop.
We chop.
or chop. We call that chop. Call that.
One spin, then it's off the lot.
Off the lines on the clock. What's hot, what's not? If it bang, we shop. If it flop, we chop. Shop or chop. Shop.